Hi, you're good. Good, 6 o'clock. Let's bring the meeting to order. Rachel, do you want to call roll?
Yes. Clark. Here. John Cups.
Here.
Dana Mulder.
Here.
Scott Reese.
Here.
Allison Marks. Here.
Good. Do the quorum. Let's see, did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes? Yes. Maybe we can make a motion to approve.
I like motion. Approve.
And welcome to those online and those in the audience. Hey, Jen. Okay, let's see, Rachel, any board communications?
No.
Okay. Any public comments? And anybody online, any public comments to add?
Nobody's unmuted.
All right, away we go. Let's see, first boardwalk update and then contingency plans.
I'll let you guys take the lead.
Did you want to give us an update on the boardwalk?
Yeah,
plan?
so I
Yeah.
did reach out about the EDA grant 2 weeks ago, and at this time, they have no timeline for awarding. I mean, that could change tomorrow. I mean, they have a lot of applications to go through at this time, but they can't tell me exactly when they will reach out to applicants for the next step.
So the next step would be to narrow it down and then you would go for an interview. Is that how it'll work?
Not necessarily, no, there probably won't be an interview. They will send it to a subcommittee, I would assume, and then they're gonna look through materials and see what else they need from us, or if there's anything missing, some more information, but I doubt it would come to an in-person interview.
And then did you tell me that we're going to send letters of support from some of the stakeholders?
That's for something separate, but I may attach them to the grant if it'll allow me to, so.
So that's for something different, a different grant?
It's not a grant, it's just federal funding. Federal funding options.
That's for, I mean, that's, each year the Congress appropriates a certain amount of federal funds for certain, other senators' districts projects, and, this year we get 77 House office reached out to us and said, do you have any projects you want us to submit? And so we did. So
Here's the boardwalk one.
Boardwalk is one project we're submitting, and the other one is electric substation.
Okay.
And how much money did you request?
We're requesting the money for the project, but we don't know how much money. It's not a grant, so they can decide to give any money or no money or.
Yeah.
So we're just we tell them the cost of the project, and then they either say it's a good project, they can get support from. And they ask questions like, are you looking for other funding sources and stuff like that, but we don't have any guaranteed money for the boardwalk yet, obviously, because the EDA grant is not approved. So I'm just gonna request for the whole thing, and then we do have to get some money. A small chance. It's a highly competitive process. You're talking about every senator is soliciting projects from all of their, constituents, municipalities. So it's not like it's a guarantee, but it's worth a shot. I gave them a list of all of our projects on our CIP, and they narrowed down. They told me, at least Debbie Stabenow's office said boardwalk and substation would be the two best ones. Okay, so
Is this a different pot of money than the EDA? Correct. Okay.
it's a different amount of money. Yep.
And when do you find out anything on that?
I have no idea. That's, that, when I was talking to the aide, she said that it's hopeful that it could be a 22 disbursement, but it's politics. Politics, and DC can change and they could delay it, but might not get any money, so.
Good, and then we were gonna maybe start having some discussions about, do we have a contingency plan if we don't get the grant or if this other thing doesn't come through? Just so we're not all of a sudden in June, like, oh, we didn't get the grant, now what are we gonna do? So, Betty, put any thought to that yet?
I think we need to, that needs to be our number one project, and the geese, as far as I'm concerned. Because once those people realize they can't use the boardwalk, it is a real pain. So, and I think there's money opportunities, from some of the summer people might be willing to do some of that. So I don't know how
So that would be sort of a personal phone call type of situation, do you think?
yeah, or letter soliciting, I don't know, Redmond Township sends money, sends a letter every year about money and people, I think they get quite a bit of money. I think it's worth a shot. I'm still confused, Nick, why, if you give money for the boardwalk, we give it to the foundation, not to the city, correct?
We wouldn't have to. I mean, there's nothing that says when somebody donates money to a municipality, city, local, township, whatever it may be, it can, according to IRS regulations, can be tax deductible. They prefer to have it flow through a nonprofit such as the community foundation, but we can accept donations. Now, if we're going to go something on a bigger scale, I have a sinking suspicion this project's going to be $1 million. And, if we start soliciting and getting possible donations of 10, 15, 500, who knows?
Right.
That's something that has to be managed then by the city. So at that point, then I feel, we'd have to open a separate bank account to hold that money in trust. And it's just a whole lot of extra work on the staff here. Is it doable? Yes. Would I recommend going through a foundation that's a nonprofit? Yes, that's my recommendation.
Okay, but you said once it gets to be a big piece of money, then the city has to do it? Or did I misunderstand that?
No. If I had my druthers right off the get-go, I would start right with a community foundation and have everything directed through them. Project gets bid out. First payment comes to the contractor. That comes right from the foundation, done.
Right.
They send out all the letters, all the correspondence, all the IRS regulation things saying, this is tax deductible. Then that's not a burden on the staff here.
Right.
But it can be done through city staff. It's just, I think it just could very potentially turn into something bigger than what we want to handle.
Nick, if somebody donates directly to the city, is it still tax deductible?
Yes, the IRS regs say that the donation has to be for public purpose. Obviously, this is the case here. But then it falls on the taxpayer to say, here, I'm putting this as a charitable deduction. We would obviously, that's another thing, we'd have to send out letters, thank you for your donation for the boardwalk. Whatever way we go, and again, I still emphasize going through a nonprofit on my end from the city standpoint, but whatever way we go, we need to be very careful about having plans, actual approved plans, approved
Yes.
bids, the whole 9 yards. So if somebody does say, you know what, I'm going to donate $250,000, and then all of a sudden we come back and the plans have changed a little bit, maybe they said, that's not something I want to donate to. This is what I was under the impression we're doing. So before we go down any path of donations, wherever they go, I think we have to have a solid plan. It's going to be wood, it's going to be this, and then go out for bids. We really don't know what kind of dollars we're even looking at.
Kind of a chicken and egg thing though.
It very much so.
I just feel like this straight up and down thing is a really bad idea. If somebody starts a fall, they're gonna be toast by the time they get halfway down.
But we need a plan A and we need a plan B.
Do we need a plan B, or do we just find a way to raise all the money we need for plan A being this?
Well, do you want it done sooner than later? That's plan A, plan B.
And
Plan A is X amount of dollars to do the simple thing. Plan B is to do the angled route. Plan C is to do the whole thing. Well, you're $1 million plus to do the whole thing, hands down.
John, yeah, it's when we go straight up, did yours go straight up to the landing, or did it, how it goes to the curve a little bit and then comes back? Is that?
Plan A was to keep costs down, was to go straight up to the new landing
Right,
with 2 landings,
okay.
you
And
know,
do we have
split in
an-
thirds, basically.
Do we have a drawing that we can print out and show people or not? Can we do that?
No, we haven't wasted any money or time on it. It was
Well-
conceptual.
Okay, so who,
Conceptual.
Yeah,
By
Yeah.
Benchmark. Benchmark did a conceptual
Right.
for the grant.
that's the western portion, the way it is now, design it is now.
okay,
With
but that
steel
would
underlay.
be, that would be go up and then around a little bit
It would go to the right, to the Y.
to the Y
Yeah.
and then
Back
up,
to-
yes,
Yeah.
We
okay,
would abandon the easterly. end.
right,
But we're
right.
not taking the
Have a
eastern
drawing of
portion
it straight
down.
up and down.
So that
would
would,
remain.
so that would be, Plan B would be going to the Y. and then
Correct.
back.
I think that's how we.
No, so
No,
actually-
no, no,
So
plan
we-
B would be, sorry, go ahead. Plan B would be straight up and down.
Plan A was
Okay.
to the Y.
Plan A is to the
Was
Y, like how,
and
yeah.
up, okay, I
Correct.
can live with that, yeah.
Yeah.
But, okay, but do we have an architectural drawing? How much is that? Who do we pay to do that for, so that we can, you know, solicit funds for this? Because people will want to see it before they say, I'm gonna get, you know, get
Probably
money.
be back to Benchmark.
And we do have some plans. We went through this whole spiel one in 2017, 18, 19 to date even.
We could use the existing plans
Right.
for Plan A. All we need to do is abandon the easterly end.
In my opinion, I would like to see, okay, if it comes down to a finance thing where, okay, we've got the money to do Plan B, or whichever one does the Y, and still be able to say, okay, but in the future, let's build this to design in such a way that we can stretch it out as dollars permit,
Not give up the easement.
which is a whole nother topic.
Correct.
Right.
So we don't really have, do we have enough information to get some preliminary quotes, or are people willing to do preliminary quotes?
Benchmark has given us an estimate for what we submitted to the grant. So we have that plan of what we submit to the grant, which is up to the Y.
Okay,
All right, that's what we're planning for to hopefully get from the grant agency. The 2 other options we're talking about here, just so we're all clear, is one is a staircase, basically. It goes straight up and down. That's the option that people least want, but that's the option that could get done sooner and cheaper. So right now we're focused on Plan A, which is up to the Y. We're not looking at the eastern end. So we would eventually need to find money eventually for the eastern half as well. So yes, we could potentially get plans for that as well. But right now, we do have conceptual plans for up to the Y. And we could tell people that. But what Nick was basically getting at is if we don't get this grant money, this council and everyone still want to go on board with this Y, because now we have to raise $600,000-$700,000 fundraise.
but versus what, with a straight up and down is how much, 500?
Probably about half less.
Probably half, like 250, 300.
Okay, so, okay,
Maybe,
but-
depending, we don't know where costs are going. So
right,
basically, there's a lot of unknowns, and obviously, it takes much longer to raise $600,000-$700,000 than it takes to raise $250,000. So if we do get the grant award, and it is an 80% match, then we only need to fundraise or find $100,000.
right, but we don't know when any of this money is gonna come in. This summer is when we need to pick certain people up, I think.
Well, I think
Uh,
in the real world, we need to look at this as a spring of 23.
Well, I'm sure it's gonna be spring, but this is the summer that
But
we,
for fundraising, to get
Summer.
money get a contractor lined up, this is a spring of next year. It'd be,
oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, it's virtually impossible to get
Right,
anything done
right.
this year.
But the fundraising is gonna be done in the summertime. There are a lot of foundations that they have to give their money away. I mean, that's, they have to give it away. So we wanna be on their horizons, I guess.
Well, I think we should look at that Plan A and we can fundraise for that.
But do we have, Victor, can we get
Is that
pictures
wide
of
plan?
that or,
We have,
Yeah.
we all
we
all
can
that.
get,
Yeah, we have all that. I think what we're trying to say is no one is opposed to fundraising. I think the principle of it is you don't want to confuse people and say, well, we're fundraising for A, like you might end up with B. Because some people are not going to be on board with that. So if we fundraise and council comes back after this grant and they say, well, now we're doing a staircase and people have fundraised for it. I think that's gonna make some angry
No, I think-
individuals.
You have to pick a plan.
Yeah, we have to pick a plan.
Yeah.
Is this council's purview to decide A or B, or what
Of
role
course,
does
we're
our
spending
board?
we're spending big money.
Right, but I mean, what role do you want the Parks Board to play in this? Like, do we make a recommendation to council that we
Yeah.
would like to go after A hard?
Yeah, advisory board, so yeah, if you want to make a recommendation.
I think we need to pick a plan and just say to
My
people.
second question would be is if we fundraise for A, and let's say we find out in July, we get the grant, could we then have some wording in there where some of those fundraising dollars go towards the eastern portion at a later date? I mean, it could be a way later date, but I mean, at least then people know it was for the original.
No, I think
concept.
personally, on the two big fundraising projects I've been on, this is the plan, we need $600,000. You gave us, and guess what, we got all this grant money, thank you so much. But we don't need it at this time. Now, we do, you know, if we want to ask them, do you care if we put it on for that? But I think you have to be very clear with those people who are giving big bucks.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and it could be clear that it goes for maintenance for the future and things like that. It's not like you build it and it just, you know.
I don't think you should, well, my personal feeling is you don't get the maintenance issue involved. We're fundraising to build the boardwalk. The maintenance, I don't know how you can fundraise for maintenance when you're trying to build a boardwalk, but you know, that's just my feeling. But
I don't know, should we as a board have a resolution to send to council saying that we strongly believe that should be A? Or maybe we don't all believe that, I just feel like it's gonna be easier to fundraise. I just look at the people that walk up and down that hill, I just think people are gonna be a lot happier with A than they are with the straight up and down.
The straight up and down would be too hard for a lot of people, I think. Like some people struggle doing the slope as it is.
Well, it's all ease of access, cost of money, the cost of the construction, you know, 250,000 to go straight up and down, 600,000 or 700,000. I mean, again, if we got some people around here that want to pony up big bucks, then by all means, go for it all.
right,
But what's going to boil down to is council and everybody else that's sitting down here is going to take the heat when people don't have access. It's already going to be a shit show this summer. We know that. The heat's going to come. Why aren't we using it? Why is it condemned? Why haven't we done anything?
that's why we need to have a plan. Well, this is what we're trying
I
to
mean,
do.
I'm
So-
wholeheartedly for the why, but we just gotta, we can get a preliminary budget number and we can go for that.
I think the wording and the campaign or whatever you might want to call it, if we said, you guys recommended by resolution, motion, even just a motion to send to council, we thought about it, we think plan, I'm getting my letters confused, plan A, the why, going to the why, is a good starting point for fundraising. And then the way you word your sales pitch is make sure that it's aware that, at some point as funds exist or are provided or whatever, it could be extended off to the east more. Just be very specific.
It's easier if you have the right product to raise the money.
Right.
And I think the right product the community would feel is for the why
I agree.
rather than straight up. And even though it's more money, significant, but I think it's the right product. And
It's long range minded, if we go straight up and down, there isn't gonna really be any nice way to tie in the east part of it.
And is the east part condemned too?
The whole thing is.
Okay.
And keep in mind, when they do the demo, only a section of the east is getting removed.
Yeah, I think that's smart. Yeah.
So not to give up easement access,
Right.
so that somewhere down the road,
Yeah.
that can
Yeah.
be redone.
Does that have to be a resolution or is that something I can come to council?
If the Parks Board just, it doesn't need to be an official resolution, if they just make a motion, someone makes a motion here to say this is what we want, and then we just send that to council.
We do have a Zoom comment too.
Okay.
We want to let someone speak. I know
Yeah.
you're ready for that. but-
Yep.
Okay. Maggie, you can unmute if you would like. You can hear me?
Maggie is Margaret.
Yeah. I'm assuming.
Huh?
Okay, yeah. Last one more time. Margaret, would you like to unmute, and make a comment? Saw her hand raised. Okay, I guess not.
Should it be a two-parted motion or a two-part motion where part of it would be that our recommendation is to go with option A, the Y, and that we'd like to ask for council's permission to commence.
Hello, guys. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, great. Sorry, I don't know what was happening. Sorry you couldn't attend this evening, but I'm glad that I did get a heads up that you guys were talking about the boardwalk. I do want to let you guys know that we did submit for the 501c3, and we did the final phase, which is submitting the 1023 form to the IRS, and that was the end of February. So we any day now would get the final approval for that ability to do the fundraising for the boardwalk, which we'd be happy to coordinate with you all, because it sounds like if we, I do agree. The one issue that we had is that we did not have a finalized plan to present to know what we were raising the funds for specifically. But I think with joining forces, I don't see a problem raising the funds that would be needed for what we ultimately would like, and that is to replace the boardwalk without doing the budget of going straight up, because you're asking to, I believe the additional plans, the plans I saw was there was like 33 extra steps that you'd have to climb, which is way too strenuous for a lot of people, as Allison said. So I think that, between hopefully.
How much do you have committed so far? Can you share
Well,
that?
we don't have anything committed yet because we're waiting for the final. So you have to first become a nonprofit, then you had to do some additional paperwork in the final, as Nick mentioned, it is quite a bit of a job getting a 501c3. So we've committed, time and the funds to get this set up. And we're just waiting for the IRS to give us our final approval. So we
I
had
wonder. Go ahead.
we had to submit a budget, which we basically projected it being like $800,000 that we would try to raise.
Just trying to think through how the logistics might go. We don't want to have, I don't think, two fundraising efforts going on and two groups asking for money from people.
Well, I think
I think that can be a private conversation between Maggie and I on another date. I don't think we need to get into that right now.
Okay, and then, so then where would the checks go then?
Well, we can all decide that, because that would be, Nick will probably have to be in on that discussion, what the best route is for fundraising.
I just have to account for dollars that come in and dollars that go out.
Yeah.
So if the money came from, a local 501c3 such as Maggie's speaking of, or a different one, whether it be the community foundation, they'll send a check, send a letter, I'd rather for tracking purposes, because it will be a city asset at that point. The money would come to the city, we would pay the contractor.
Yeah, I believe the community foundation, when we tried to partner with them, the one hiccup that we had is that there were no set plans of what we were raising the funds for. So it goes back to what you were saying originally. What is exactly that we're trying to raise the funds for? What's the plan?
And we have all that now.
Those plans, just because I've been since 2018 on this boardwalk, do those plans specify substrates, what kind of material, what kind of railings, posts?
Yeah.
I believe they do.
Yeah.
Last time I looked at them, they
All
did.
that detail is in those
Okay.
Yeah, because you were involved with that.
Might we get a copy?
So I'm confused. I'm hearing that we're deciding if we're going to go straight up or if we're going to do a Y. So we do know what.
Hi, Maggie.
It'd be the why.
It'd be to the Y.
Okay, great.
That's what we decided on. So,
So as far as the city's concerned, it doesn't matter if the checks go into this boardwalk group, or if they go into the city, or if they go into the foundation.
It would be better to go to the foundation.
Well, there's the
Whatever,
the one, and I don't even call it a downfall because it still has to operate, but there is a fee with the foundation. So if there was, everything was completed and done and all set in place and there's a plan, and we had a separate nonprofit that could draw these dollars in, hold them in trust until we were ready to pay, and no fees. I guess, everything's got to be in place and correctly done.
I think it's worth sitting down with Maggie and seeing what their
Right.
plan is and what their 501c3 is about, and then we can decide which way we feel we should go. But I think the next step is sitting down with her and having an in-depth conversation about how we're gonna do this. And then we will take it to council with a full plan for fundraising.
that makes sense.
That sounds good.
That's great. That's awesome. I mean, we all want the same things. That would be, combined forces. Thank you.
Thanks, Maggie.
Maggie?
Yes?
The extra steps, are those in the Y or in the entire thing, the 33 extra steps?
I think
Do
they
you
were straight up
remember
and
The
down.
straight up and
Oh,
down.
the straight up, oh, okay, got it. Never mind then. Okay.
Well, actually, I think there were a few extra steps going to the Y because they took a lot of the slope.
Got it.
Like now there's, pretty good slope on some of the areas. So I think every landing gained a step or two to
Okay.
take a lot of the slope out of some of that, if I do remember
Okay, it would,
correctly.
Josie, what do you think about it? Do you have an opinion?
I think the Y is a better idea than
Yeah.
the straight up and down.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, would somebody like to make a motion to refer this to council as a recommendation that we would like to go with the Y option? I'll make that motion.
A second.
But we also need to, but it's gotta be included in there that Rachel will handle the things between Maggie at the city level,
Okay,
for us,
so appended.
you know what I'm saying? So,
And I believe you guys would, in this motion, from what I understood, is to encourage council to recommend council to start, encourage them to look into beginning a fundraising plan, create a fundraising plan. So it's not just to go with Y, because council right now wants to go with the Y. It's what we want as a Parks Board to, now let's start.
right, I just assumed Rachel would have that.
To give city staff the go nod ahead to organize with fundraising, however it pans out with Maggie or whatever.
Yeah, between, Rachel, Maggie, you or whoever's involved in that should be. With that all handled down here, and then we can just follow suit.
Did you get a concrete motion out of all that?
It's on video. It's recorded. so-
Okay.
We have a motion and a second though.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Perfect.
Great.
All right, moving on.
Soul Street Dog Beach rules. So this has come up a number of times, and people feel strongly about it both ways.
So I brought my presentation that I made to council, it's been like August. And it basically has our rules. So right now it sits at 0.5 acres. It's the size of Soul Street Beach. And all dogs have to be in direct control of their handler by leash or voice at this time. Dogs are welcome at any time. The dog owner is responsible for dogs' messes. They cannot be bathed in the water. And they have to respect neighbors and try and keep their dogs as quiet as possible. So those are the rules that are set as of right now.
And those are posted there.
Correct.
So one thing that was proposed was no dogs ever. Another thing that was proposed was dogs before a certain time and after a certain time.
And my recommendation is to not change the rules. I don't know, no one would be able to enforce them at this time. We haven't had many complaints about the park. It's something that I can keep an eye on for a full summer and see how busy it gets and, you know, the peak days. And I just think it needs to be looked at a little more closely before we change rules to that. I think we're gonna create more problems by changing the rules than
We
a couple
gave that
problems
piece,
fixed.
yeah, we gave that lake, that
Victor, is there
park
a
away to the,
thing in the ordinance for Kyle and his crew to like issue a ticket if somebody's being ignorant, basically?
There's disorderly persons, conduct, but I don't know if.
Like, we have these rules
Yeah.
there, so if somebody, you know, if somebody had a complaint, Kyle or the guys go down there.
Oh, there's these are rules, I think, are some.
So there is a violation where they can issue a ticket.
The dog's
kind of
under
thing.
control of the.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
control of the owner, even if it's off leash, they're. Yes,
We have those in place, that's what I thought.
It's I think what Rachel was getting at as far as enforcement more so is, it's not like we're gonna be there monitoring there 24/7.
No, it's not a lifeguard sitting there or somebody like that, you know,
It's
I mean,
hard to keep track.
people need to pay
We don't have
attention to their
staff
own
Keep
stuff.
track of what's going on.
I guess like what Victor's saying, I don't want a phone call at 2:00 in the afternoon. Well, someone has their dog down here and it's 2, like, I don't have time to go down there and rectify that situation. So, and I just don't believe in having rules like that we can't enforce properly.
and you're never gonna get that beach away from the dog people, you know. It's not gonna happen.
A couple things we could do is we could put a box down there with if people had comments or concerns, we could put a number for them to call. We could put the city call number on it if people have an issue. We could basically just give more outlets for individuals that do come up with problems at that park or concerns. But I just think it's premature at this point to be changing our policy or rules down there.
And really, what are you gonna do? If there's a dog bite, then the police are involved.
Correct.
So, I mean,
And you said the water is tested there weekly, is it?
Correct, it's actually, I mean, because there's no geese there, probably the cleanest
Yeah.
cans water you'll find.
The water there gets more dirty from the boats coming in and out of the basin than
Dogs.
dogs.
Yeah, 90% or more of dog owners are cleaning up after their dogs. I haven't noticed that being a problem down there. So
well, the times I've been down there, there's been people who don't really control their dogs. They're sort of running around, but they're not being, biting people. They're just, running around.
The conflicts are between the people, not between the dogs so much.
Right,
Right.
and something, if you don't like dogs, you should, whether you believe in the dog beach, you don't go down there if you don't like dogs.
But I think it is something we should monitor throughout the summer.
Yeah.
And make sure just with parking, there is a lot going on down there. You have your kayaks, you have
Yeah.
some families
Yeah.
that do still go down there. So it's something we can monitor and maybe make a more educated decision next summer. This summer.
Do you control the kayaks?
Pardon?
Do you control the kayaks?
Yes,
Any issues?
no, well, access is the primary issue. There's really no issue with dog behavior down there, dog
Right.
people, so, yeah.
I mean, but access has kind of been the issue for years.
Right, yep. And we try to improve that by putting in that, sort of a sand ramp down there
Yeah.
behind that curve. That seemed to work out pretty well.
Keep the washouts and everything else.
Washouts,
Yeah, we did that years ago. Yep.
Would we think about maybe putting in an extra, dog pool or dog mud bin in there? Outside of the one that's already there, right in the middle of that parking area?
Yeah,
Maybe one closer to the water, just kind of a reminder that
yeah, that's a good idea.
there's definitely room to do that.
I do feel that daily in the summer, so probably do.
We go down there too, so, yeah.
Thank you.
Just one other thought too is, so we'll maybe get some anecdotal stuff this summer, but, we had that yard sign with the QR code for the survey at Marina Park. Would we want to do a survey at Soul Beach?
We would look into, I'd rather do that as opposed to having pieces of paper down there if we're gonna do a survey or something along that line. So that's definitely something I can look into. But that's what I'm saying, yeah, like I'd like more information on it before we jump to changing the
I'm
hours.
just thinking the
or-
best way to get
Yeah,
information.
exactly. And we definitely don't want litter in the park.
Okay.
Good.
Right, folks, I'll leave you to find leadership of our Parks and Recreation Plan.
I can go in 10 minutes.
Have one for me.
Want me to speak to him here?
So is everybody on board? Agree to just.
Agreed.
give-
Leave it alone.
Okay, good. Okay, 5-year plan. So the matrix. So we have 25 minutes, so to speak.
So I am gonna read off the projects and then I'm gonna go through a line and you're gonna rate them 1 through 3, 1 being top priority and 3 being lowest priority. And then after this meeting this week, I'll average them. It's what the tree board did with their project matrix. I think it's really effective. It gets everyone's opinion and kind of a quick,
So each project will get so many points.
correct?
Yep.
Yep, and that'll be the final score.
And so the scale is 1 to 3,
Correct.
with 1 being the most important?
Correct.
Okay,
So we will start with Susan Clark.
You know, number 1 is Boardwalk, number 2 is that geese.
We'll start with geese. So you rate waterfront geese control as top priority, a 1, correct?
Well, the Boardwalk, number 1. I think
We're not
we're
doing
not-
that.
we're not doing
We're
The
that.
boardwalk
No,
is
just
okay.
right up.
Project. It's just these.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, geese.
Boardwalk's on a
well,
separate list.
Yeah, geese,
Okay.
number 1.
Cubs.
3.
1 is most important, right?
Correct.
1.
1. Josie.
2.
Get in on the fun. Have an annual safety maintenance and ADA compliant checklist for each park. Susan.
3.
1.
1,
3.
3. Complete 5-year parks plan.
1.
1.
1,
1.
1. 4. Recycling receptacles at all our major parks.
1.
2.
1,
2.
2.
1.
Does that include Marina Park?
It would.
Out of curiosity, okay.
Review environmental best practices for parks maintenance.
2.
2.
2.
2.
2.
Standardized signage.
3. I'm sick of the science.
3.
wait. So 3 is not important.
I don't think she wants. more
Not
science,
important
but she-
because I think we're way oversigned in this. We look like
Okay.
Lookout Mountain.
Okay, I got you.
Jeez.
Well, I'd have to give that a 2.
3.
3.
Concrete pads under downtown benches. So basically concreting the benches in.
3. It doesn't really matter to me, I guess.
2.
3,
3.
3.
Are you including, and I hate to ask again, are you including Marina Park benches
No.
as well? You're not, okay.
And if we did, we would discuss that.
Well, actually, we're
Oh,
talking
we did a
about the
couple-
ones in
yeah.
front of
We were,
The walkway.
the walkway,
yeah.
the dock between
But
the pier.
with that, we talked about, were those the ones we talked about putting backlist ones in? So basically,
Right.
our plan, well, our possible plan was to take those benches and move them to Zorn Park,
Mhm.
the grassy area where those 2 older ones are, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then purchasing backlist ones so people could look either way, either into the park or out of the post.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, community outreach. Develop surveys for all park users for programming and park amenity needs.
3.
Okay.
2.
1,
2.
3.
Social media outlets.
Okay, so what does that mean?
That would be like
Advertising?
Facebook, Instagram, yeah. Any-
Well, since I'm not on any of that, I guess 2.
At 2.
a 2,
2.
2.
Parks volunteer group.
1.
1.
2,
1.
1.
Parks brochure with map and yearly events.
Yeah, 2.
1.
3,
3.
3.
Create a marketing education strategy involving local schools, businesses, and local newspapers.
3.
2.
2.
3.
1.
Annual parks workday.
That might be a good idea, 1.
2.
2.
4, no.
You almost had me.
All right.
That sounds familiar,
Two.
but you're right.
1.
Okay, funding, apply for grants yearly.
1.
1.
1,
1,
1.
1 plus.
That was easy, friends. Survey and update township participation.
So that's reaching out to the townships and making
Correct.
them aware of what,
Correct.
1,
1,
1. More.
An annual fundraiser.
You know, if we have something to, 2, I guess.
I put 2.
2,
2,
2.
A Friends of the Parks group.
2.
so is this for fundraising?
Oh, it's funding and, yeah, it could be for
So this isn't
fundraising.
for like volunteers, that was previously.
Yeah.
Okay,
That
so
was
this is,
I had 3.
I say 1,
1,
1.
Okay, Ford Park, a restroom remodel. Well, that's completed. We don't have to rate that. Benches and kayak storage, but just be aware when we rate this that we do not make decisions on the kayak storage. We can put input to the Harbor Commission, but ultimately,
Yeah, it's just like.
That's not our
you know,
space.
Half those kayaks are never used, they just sit there, so 3. Just irritates me.
I had 2.
3,
2.
and site dewatering.
I think that's a TBD, right?
Site water,
Yeah.
3, because that's a major city.
Okay, 3.
That's
Yeah,
a
and
major
Lucas
city
said he
undertaking.
doesn't think it's gonna be a problem.
Lucas thinks the
most
water
years.
table was really high for a
Yeah.
couple years and it'll
I
kind
would
of,
say 3.
yeah. correct
3,
itself.
3.
It just happens to be a low area in the city.
Community garden,
3.
I had 2.
2,
1,
1. 2.
benches and tables, and we're talking about June Jardine, the stadium and the deer park, just so we're clear.
1.
Yeah, 1, maybe, yeah.
1,
I say 3, there's already a lot of data.
3. 2.
And a stadium concert.
So what does that mean?
Hosting more events there is basically what we're saying that in short, utilizing the stadium for events or doing a
2.
concert.
Yeah, 2.
so this could also be the chamber, some other. group.
Correct, yeah.
So
I think we should
factor
broaden
that
it
in.
rather.
I had 2.
2,
2,
2.
Kiwanis Park. We already did sledding events, utility sink, install a utility sink.
well, we could say ongoing sledding events, which I would say
Okay.
1,
Yeah,
I had 1.
Yeah, that should be 1, but
Scott,
1,
1. 1.
back to utility sink.
you need 1, I guess.
I had 1.
1,
1,
1.
Paint inside of, oh, we did that. Small restroom upgrades.
Yeah, that needs to be done, 1.
1,
1,
1.
Trail signage.
2.
I had 2, just because I wasn't sure where we were going with that.
Kind of the disc golf course is mostly the trails and some surrounding around there, but
I think if we're gonna do more up there, that'll need to be done, so.
I don't think it'd be that hard to do either, which you have to
No.
factor in on some of this.
yeah.
So, 2.
2,
2,
2.
Zip line, slack line.
And that would be really fun, but I mean, I don't know how much that, like 2. I mean, it would be great to have, but
I had 3, because I figured we had a couple of projects that probably would need
yeah,
to
I
slide in
would
there
say
before
same
that.
reason 2.
A 2.
2,
3.
Close a quad and skate park, a bike fix-it station.
3.
some reason I missed this. Like,
How would
fix
that
it,
even mean?
what is a
Seems
fix
like
it?
It's, so if you go to the Tosca and go to their waterfront, they have these stands, they're not very big, and they're, like, if your bike breaks down, you need air, or you need a tool, it's all attached to that. And we do end the wheelway. I mean, Coastal Park is the end of the Travis Wheelway, and we
So
don't
is that a
have
real
one.
big expensive project, or we could have
No,
one?
they're like $1,000.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's not anything, but that's a skate park.
Baseball
But
field.
all same thing. But I think it's important to recognize that that's a big trailhead. I mean, they're either starting there or they're ending
Unfortunately, that is
there.
I bet you we'd find somebody.
I'd
to
probably put a
donate it
1 there.
anyways. Yeah, anybody would donate that. I'd say 1.
2,
2. 1.
Skate park building update. That'd be restrooms, their entryway.
Isn't that part of the,
Is that part of the
No, The
design?
building is not part of the project.
probably put 2 on that.
Yeah, two.
I don't know how bad it is.
I mean, you could do some small upgrades. We did just get all new skate park, but the doors are all brand new.
Yeah, that's not really in that bad a shape.
Yeah, the toilets, it's
Yeah.
kind of like Kiwanis. They could be upgraded to
Yeah.
be more commercial than
So
rather than
let's- yeah, let's say
residential.
2.
but-
2.
2.
Landscaping with benches and tables.
And,
I feel like that's part of the project.
Yeah, that will be part of the
Yeah, I
project,
had
pretty
3
much.
on that.
yeah, it's three.
I say 3.
3.
3.
And Marina Park, continuing with Fall Fest. Which is completed, but we're just asking, is that a top priority?
You know
Yep,
something?
1.
I say 1.
I
One.
guess one. One wasn't around, so one.
Is that one's across the board?
Yeah.
need one more in there, Rich.
Thank you. Lawn rehabilitation.
So what exactly does that mean? I mean, when
So,
they took the tennis courts out, they didn't even level the thing.
yeah, so
I mean-
right now we use Dan's Green Side Up, and they did a very large treatment
Yeah.
last spring and fall. They did seeding. This spring, I'm recommending they still do a treatment, but we do not seed in the spring because it saves on a lot of money. And my fear is, and Lucas's fear is, we're gonna do the treatment the first week in May, and then Memorial Day weekends could get trampled all over, and it's not gonna come through. So we're gonna be spending money and it's not gonna give us the results we want. So we would do the irrigation treatment, and then in the fall, we would seed with another treatment.
I
It
think
kind of
the
breaks
large
up the
Problem
cost.
there too is there's not a lot of black dirt in there, is there?
Yeah,
There's hardly any back
Yeah, that's the problem.
ultimately, when they took out the tennis courts, there's not a
Correct.
great,
Yeah, they didn't do
Very-
anything. All they
yeah.
did was take the tennis courts out and see.
Yeah.
I thought we had saw huge improvement though,
Yeah.
don't you think, Mike?
As far as the condition of the lawn,
The turf grass.
I would have to go with Rachel's recommendation. It didn't seem to work as well as until it was late in the summer.
Yes.
Yeah, it didn't seem to work as well as it may have if we'd gone later in the year, but
I,
not being a lawn care guy, it just seemed to me that we still had a lot of patchy effect to it, so.
And I don't know if you guys have read about the birds and the bees and the butterflies, but you know, some states are not, they don't want you to cut your lawn all of May because butterflies and everybody's coming back. I'd really like to see that to stay, let it grow for the month of May, and then all they're asking you to do is don't cut your lawn for the month of May.
I
And
haven't
that,
heard that at all.
yes, it's a real, Wisconsin does it in Wisconsin. There's like 4 or 5 states now that, and that's what I'm doing with my lawn, just don't cut it
The
in.
water problem we have is it's still freezing in May.
I know, that's true here. That
Hell, there
is
could
true
be
here,
snow.
but it does help with the butterflies and the, you know, just Google that.
it also is to do the full treatment, it's over $5,000, which we didn't necessarily budget for. So I would just, it would be, I don't know, not responsible in my mind to spend that full amount when we could do part of it, see improvement, and then seed in the fall, and when you really should be seeding.
Yeah.
So
It is our gig?
It is. Well, my gig, yeah.
Oh,
I had 2 on it.
I say 2.
I say 2.
3.
3.
I feel like people are gonna come regardless whether there's.
I agree. And long-term landscaping plan,
Okay, is that for the Marina Park only or
just Marina Park, correct?
3?
I had 2.
2.
3.
2.
Mainly because I thought we'd done
I think it looks great, and I think.
majority of it already.
Yeah,
So
that's
just
how I feel. It looks fine. so.
maintaining what we got.
You got a lot, well, you guys got a lot of compliments on what happened there last year from all the voters and people just walking by, so it looks great.
Just a little
Thank you.
life
I think
and color.
Yeah, did nothing else.
Okay, moving on to Shea Park, the Shea locomotive.
So what does that mean?
So, and I don't even know if it's worth voting on right now, because that's really so the Historical Society has potentially a train locomotive that they would like to put
Right,
in
yeah.
Shea Market, but they haven't. That's
They
a,
haven't brought a proposal.
yeah, they have a
Council
while,
yet.
like they still have to
For this year.
work through this. Yeah, I think it's safe to put that as a 3 for now until it's something we need to,
Yeah, that's fine.
till they actually bring to
Yeah.
us. There's gonna be 3s across the board. Yep. All right, tables, benches, and shade options at Shea Park.
I
We've got
have 2.
some tables.
Yeah, 2. I mean,
I had 1 because I thought there should be, I don't know about shade, but there should be
It's
some
trees.
tables and stuff there.
Also
Also
be
become
a-
a cool area when the food trucks are there.
That's what I was about to
People
say,
have
just
lunch.
remember there are food trucks there, so it does get pretty busy.
And I haven't paid attention to know if there's any there now or
Yeah.
not.
Right now,
One.
Not right now.
tables,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
There's-
there's tables.
Like, yeah, there's like
trees.
3 or 4.
It'd be nice to have some with umbrellas.
So 2, 1, Dana.
1.
2.
2.
1.
All right, Gold Street Beach, dog control.
Should we just say 3s across the board for our discussion 5 minutes ago?
We control
Yeah,
that,
that's
yeah.
fine.
Public restroom,
3.
At Zoll,
correct.
3.
Cup,
I had 3 because there's already 1 there.
yeah.
3.
3.
3.
Perfect.
Okay, and what do you mean about the kayak storage?
The kayak storage, again, I mean, do we think it's a high enough priority to bring to the Harbor Commission? That's not a decision ultimately we will make,
There's storage there already.
correct?
And so what I want to know is, do they monitor if those kayaks ever move?
I don't know.
Because you
That's a
can't
Harbor
ever get
Commission
on that
question.
list, yeah. I say 3. Yeah.
I had 3.
3.
3.
3.
But Mike, sir, what is your take on that process? Is it the same kind of process to
That's
get
a
on that
horse that's
list?
It's been beaten up so many times at meetings, probably over the last 3 or 4 years, but we do monitor that traffic. I mean, we don't check to make sure that people are using their boats, because they're required to have something on that rack for 29 days between the 28th of June and August 15th.
Right.
But we can't determine how many boats are actually in use day to day.
Sure.
Yeah.
That'd be really tough.
But that list to get on, to get a spot on the city is, it's,
There's 42 names on it right now.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
It's like trying to get into the harbor.
Yeah. I don't care as long
Okay,
as
we
people
better
are
keep
using
Okay, let's
it.
go.
All right, the Soren City Beach and Green Playground install. This
Yeah,
should,
yeah,
Isn't it?
let me put in
That's already
my
good.
5 cents. This
Okay.
should be a 1 because we have a donor who's willing to pay for it.
Yes,
And it was already
okay.
there,
One
so
across the board.
That's
One,
good, yeah,
one.
I don't mean to vote for people, but that's what it should be.
okay.
Shade options.
Yeah, wouldn't be bad to have something down there for the kids. 1.
2.
1.
2.
2. And a restroom remodel, which we've already done, so we're good. And other parks, tourist park tables and benches.
The tourist park is where now?
That's where the banner is, up at the top of the hill.
3.
I had 2.
3.
3.
3.
This is gonna be ongoing, that's happening, so we don't have to vote on that. And I'll go over that in my director report. And then Indian Town future site plan.
You know, I guess like,
And we're saying for 2022, what's your rating just for this year?
Yeah, just
Like
for this
long
year.
term, it might be
Yeah.
easier.
I had 1, 3.
Three. Right. Okay, great. So that is done.
okay, what about the baseball playground? The baseball field playground, what do we call that? The baseball field playground?
Yeah, I think that's on there. No, that is a CIP project. That's why it's not on here. So that's already lined up.
Okay.
Anything that's 10 grand or more is on a separate list, like the boardwalk. That's a capital.
Okay, so
improvement.
is that part of us or part of the?
That is part of us.
Okay,
So we will.
and
will
so
make
we
that
have a
happen.
plan for that?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to see that.
I don't have like a visual, but I've talked to playground companies and grants.
Okay, and so you know how much, so you have a plan for it, and you know how much it's going to cost?
Not off the top of my head, but I do have
Okay.
like a semi
Okay.
I wonder if
figure,
we
but I
would
can
think
send
about
you.
maybe having like a subcommittee to look at what's in the
Because that
playground.
playground gets used so much and that equipment, sometimes I worry about the kids, I'm up there a lot, and that is old equipment.
Okay, great. Marina Park Summer 2022. Do you happen to have that picture with the flowers? If not, I can just hold mine up.
Yeah, can you hold it up? I search for that.
So these are the grasses that are around the park. So one thing on that, Lucas is supposed to be cutting them down, but if he doesn't have time, we may have to get a last minute group to go do it. So if you get the new growth up with the old growth, you're cutting all the new stuff off too.
Yeah, you gotta do that pretty soon.
Pretty soon,
Yeah, because
yeah.
they
So
will
hopefully,
cut the balloons off, yeah.
Yeah, like, should I bring some donuts in or something, Rachel, what do you suggest?
I'll talk to Lucas tomorrow.
Okay, so last year we had these dark red geraniums, and these will go with Mike's geraniums. And then, these are those tall, purple ageratum that did really well last year.
Right,
And then, the pansies did not well last year, so this is a miracle that has red to go with this plus orange, so huge pop color. And then, last year we did 60 plants. And so, we did 4-inch pots just so they're not starting out like flat size, but I think we were saying maybe we do flats of marigolds.
Yeah.
And so, we did a third, a third, a third, and then we tucked them in both sides of the, beds with the grasses.
okay, yeah, I don't remember those, but I wasn't down there that much. Well, do we plant those or, okay,
Yep, so
Okay.
we have a proposed, work day of May 25th, which is the same day the garden club's doing their plantings
Okay,
down there.
And I'll send out an email, because I'm gonna have to get a hold of Ronaldo's and get
May 25th?
prices and
Yeah,
order it,
it's a
because they're not
Wednesday.
holding flowers this year. So we're gonna have to order them, and then as soon as they come in, we'll get them.
This time of day, good, better, sometimes better than others, or
Morning.
Is that May
Morning, yeah.
25th, what day is that?
It's a Wednesday.
yeah.
And if they come in
Yeah,
early,
that's fine.
I can
That's a
pick them up
Wednesday.
and put them up in my shop so they don't freeze or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, something they will come in early, because I buy all my plants, the marigolds do come in early.
Is 9 o'clock good for everybody, or do a
Yeah,
little
that's,
later?
yeah,
Let's say 9 o'clock on the 25th.
Is that a weekday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday, I don't
Can you
know.
coordinate with Lucas to make sure he gets extra trash barrels down there
Mhm.
for the containers? We just get overwhelmed with trash when the garden club does their stuff, so.
So we took all ours to recycle behind the pier last year, so I think they'll do that
Okay,
for our group. And then, another thing, you were gonna talk to Lucas about making sure we have the sprinklers on by then. And then Mike, if, you guys could, like, maybe the first few weeks, just while everything's sending roots out and getting established, just
Mhm.
maybe give them a little extra shot of water.
same thing with the boxwoods again this year?
Yeah, let's see how those do.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna bring down a little moisture meter, I'll leave it with you guys, but it's just like a, kind of like an instant read thermometer, you stick it in there and,
I think you gave me one last year. but
Okay,
still
yeah.
have some. Okay.
okay, let's see. Ice placement ideas. We could also, talk more about this at the next meeting. So we were up at,
Well,
we were-
Scott, do you wanna go through yours real quick,
Yeah.
or?
Sure. So I put together a few ideas, and then if you like the ideas,
I'm gonna go to the Marina Park stuff. though,
okay.
real quick.
So, one of my ideas is to have a butterfly garden between the benches that are on the north side. There are already butterflies there, over towards the pier, but so many people are just sitting there peacefully, and it's such a wonderful thing to have butterflies come around, and, it's inspiring. And the next slide is, you can buy these butterfly kits for $28. They're small, and we probably would put up 2 of them, or we could put up 1, but I think it would be a nice new addition to the park.
Scott, is that
think where
down near
this
the
is.
marina benches?
The north side benches, this is north,
Okay.
okay? Right now, there's 3 benches, so I mean between 2 of them.
Yeah, the garden club has talked with me about putting a butterfly garden / sensory garden through here, the spillway area too. So that's
Yeah, I mean,
something, so it's not a new discussion, the
Yeah.
butterfly concept.
It's really a great thing when they come around. It makes everybody smile. The other suggestion that's come to my attention is that the need to possibly have shuffleboard down there. And as I did my research, this kind of looked the best to me for being down there, because there are people that don't want more clutter and want the open space. So, this was just an idea for one shuffleboard, but this is the one that was $3,600. Go to the next slide. And then, well,
is
that's.
there concrete in the ground or is it
No,
something?
there's nails. Go back 1 slide there. You can see the nails.
Is it, what kind of material? Is it a material? Or,
It can be done both.
okay,
If we were gonna
To put
do,
sand
if
in
we were
there?
gonna do that, I think we need a better plan on what's gonna happen at the park. And you'd wanna go with concrete so it lasts. But not that it's a bad idea, I think if we were gonna do that, we need a more detailed
We also,
plan for the place.
It's been a suggestion, but if it's included in the survey, then, well, maybe we find out there's a need, a desire for it, or there isn't.
Yeah, and where's the best place? for
Yeah,
it,
and
right?
where and how the best place, but, short term, this was the options that I saw.
Yeah, I really like the idea,
So,
and adding it to our surveys, if you like it, like I said, what Cups was saying, my concern would be killing the grass.
well, I also have concerns with, who's gonna monitor this.
Right.
I mean, Mike can tell you that I probably go down there 5 days a week and set up the cornhole and, set up the checkers and the tic-tac-toes and all that stuff. We don't have anybody that really does that, it's their job. They help out, and as people help out sometimes, but we need somebody to take care of that.
bocce ball would be fun too down there.
Yeah, but there's been concern about throwing things when there's, a number
That's true,
of
I guess.
toddlers,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
number of toddlers in there.
yeah.
The other thing is, I know, I get out quite a bit and I talk about Marina Park and everybody says, where's that? So my proposal here is to have a sign similar to this that would, just announce that it's Marina Park and have something about it from a
You
historical
don't want it to
standpoint.
say the old tennis courts?
No, the Jeff Jameson one.
Doesn't this have some history to it, Mike, that
Yeah.
sign?
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about taking that sign down. That's about the
That has to be
Marina.
there.
Yeah,
That has to be.
yeah. So we can get a historical sign that looks like this in general for $362. That's not, it just would be in keeping. We can make it the same color and make, same type of posts and things like that as a short-term idea.
Just because I don't pay attention to wayfinding signs around here anymore, that kind of part of me, but isn't there already a sign that says Marina Park?
No, there's
What
a
about-
sign that says Marina on the far side of the bathroom.
Isn't there right in front of Raymer's office, a sign that says beach and marina right there? I thought there was,
I don't know.
there's a
I
sign
there
there.
is.
just thought they did all the wayfinding stuff that
Light bulb.
That'd have been done.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, I
If
think
it's-
it's definitely something to look
I mean, it's,
into.
it's an idea.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely an idea that should be brought up when we do a more large scale plan for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think
Yeah.
there should be some sort of,
I think the graphics should be the same on other park signs too,
I
so
agree
I
with
don't.
Yeah, but What are we gonna do with the
But
DDA
as
signs?
we said, we're not.
Well,
that
that's,
yeah.
there lies the thing, so. Yeah.
Okay.